Hey guys, welcome to Approach to the Nerds' very first Arrowverse Tuesday, where we are basically going to talk about two Arrowverse shows in one stream. Is this ambitious? Yes. Am I insane? Probably. But we're going to try it anyway and see how this goes. So the two series that we're watching are the ones that come out on Tuesday that we're going to talk about are, of course, The Flash and Superman and Lois. So let's jump right in. Let's talk about The Flash, Season 7, Episode 1 premiere. This kind of carries over from Season 6. Barry's lost his power, or losing his speed, should I say. And Iris is trapped in the Mirrorverse, along with Singh and Camille, with no hope of finding or getting them out. Cisco has gone on a quest to various DC comic locations to try and see if they can find a way of getting his girlfriend and Iris and Singh basically back. So this takes up where Barry is still trying to figure out this artificial Speed Force thing with Chester P., my man, love him to death. And so basically he has to try and figure out a battery or power source that they can use to power it, because nothing that they've used can charge this currently. Which whenever they start an episode like that, you know something is going to happen, where something gets sacrificed or somebody's going to die, because The Flash, I swear, is the one Arrowverse show where somebody for some reason has to die or is prophesized to die. You know, we had Iris and we had Barry, and now unfortunately we have Nash. And I'll get to that in a minute. But so Ava is carrying on her mission to get rid of, everything connected to her husband and Black Hole and everything on that level. She's using these cool fractal protons to basically attack people, including the Flash. There's a really cool scene where he's following her. He only has 1% speed. He's chasing her down because he wants his wife back. And she literally makes a copy of herself, and she moves, as she says, at the speed of light. And you see him looking at her, and it's something you're normally used to the Flash doing, being able to see things, in a slower, speed, even though he's going incredibly fast. But she's kind of looking at him like, hey. It was a really cool scene, actually. But yeah, I thought that was a very interesting segue into him getting his speed back, because I knew they were going to do something. They had to do something. So Ava takes out Sam Skretter, one of her first ever mirror creations, and of course leaves Rosa Dillon, who of course Vertigo, behind. Well, we come to find out she's actually working for Ava, and we learn this through another very cool scene in this episode. And Cecille, our resident empath, is her defense attorney, because remember in the last season she decided she wanted to be a defense attorney for metahumans. And so she's taking on the case, and she's trying to figure out exactly what was going on, what the actual plan was. And of course, Rosa was the brains behind the operation. Sam was just the pretty face. And she made a deal with Ava. And so she basically put a bomb on one of Black Hole's planes that I guess had the rest of their tech. And they decided that they were going to fly it over the city and then blow it up, killing millions of people, because, that's the plan. But what I loved about Rosa's interaction with Cecille is that Rosa started off as an empath. And so she was able to evolve her ability because she didn't fear it like Cecille does. So and I don't know if this was a writer's choice, it was really, really fast, actually. So Rosa, she demonstrated this power, this ability to get inside somebody's head, find the tiniest of doubt, and make it the only thing they're able to feel. She does it to Camille. And, it works beautifully. But then Camille eventually, and when I say eventually, I mean very quickly, turns it back on her. And I thought that was interesting. Cecille, if she was to turn evil, she would be very formidable, because that woman is very smart. But she's the one that gets the information about the plane and the bomb. So I really did appreciate those scenes between Rosa and Cecille. And I love when Joe was like, hey, that's my girl. I will say this. I know Joe loves Iris, but I think she's been in trouble and peril so much. He's just tired, because like Barry is so run down. You can tell he misses his wife, and Joe does miss his daughter, but it's kind of like this again. That's what it seemed like to me in the show. But yeah, the whole thing with Joe Cecille, I love those scenes. Iris, it seems, was fractured, but she actually isn't. It's actually Ava messing with Iris. So, and it kind of looked like this in season 6, that she was slowly losing her mind because she's trying to find a way out. And she's also trying to find Camille and sing again. It's just a big thing. But yeah, it was very cool to see Iris see her episode 1 pilot self, her Salvatore self, her future self, with excess. So like she got to see different variations of herself, but it really wasn't her mind doing it. It was Ava, which is interesting because almost like Ava can read her mind. So I always have questions about every show I watch. It's just what it is. And I've always toyed around with doing reviews of The Flash since I've seen every season, but sometimes some seasons are better than others. So I've decided to give season 7 a chance, even though it's against my better judgment. But all right. So Nash. The biggest part of this episode seemed to revolve around all the Wells. And I don't know if this was basically a goodbye to the Wells, but they decided that to get the power, basically to be able to power the artificial speed force, that they would need to have Nash sacrifice his life. And what I mean by that is they want to pull out all the multiverse particles out of him and put it into the fusion sphere so that it can be used as the source of power to charge the artificial speed force that Barry needs to get his speed back. And so this entire episode, you already knew Nash was going to die because every version of Wells sacrifices themselves in some way or another. It's just what it is. But it seems like they're saying that every version of Wells is now residing inside the fusion sphere that's powering the artificial, speed force. I don't know if that's true, but it seems like it. But yeah, Nash first goes to Allegra to try to get Allegra to pull the particles out and just put them directly into the fusion sphere. And everyone was like, okay, we'll try it. And of course, it doesn't work. It backfires. And all of Wells, all of the particles go into Barry. And Barry is hilarious as every version of Wells. I think I really loved him as Sherlock. I think that was probably one of the best ones. We got to see HR. We got to see all of the other versions of Wells, or the Council of Wells, all residing through Barry's body, which was absolutely hilarious. Sadly, though, they were able to get a magnet and reverse it. And then Nash, of course, made the ultimate sacrifice. I hate that he didn't have more time with Allegra, but I think that might have been the point. That is pretty much, they didn't, from Allegra's point of view, they didn't bond as much as Nash had wanted, but she's always going to know that she's one of the reasons he did that. And he thought he was a bad guy. And of course, we had Wells come in and say, we've all been pretty much, selfish jerks, and Team Flash, changed us. And now we're able to do all of this, yada, yada, yada. So yeah, Nash is dead. And they're making it seem like all of the Wells are dead. Now, considering how many Wells we've had, more than likely there is another one out there because it's crisis or a post-crisis. So anything is possible. And we have multiple Earths to choose from. So I don't think that all of the Wells are actually going to be gone because I don't think the actor is going away. At least I haven't read anything about it. I could be wrong. Maybe I missed something, but I don't think we're getting rid of the Wells. But this was a very good send-off if we're going to go to the Wells that we're used to. So if we're never going to see these Wells again, then that is a good send-off for them. And then we'll see what we have next in terms of Wells, which is interesting. But I like what Allegra said at the end of the episode. She said, whenever you run now, it's almost like they're running with you. And I thought that was very, very cool. But I did have a question. So if the plane had a bomb on it and they're on the same Earth as Kara, and technically even Superman, even though he's got his hands full, why not call a Kryptonian to come take the bomb out since you aren't fast enough? Why would you risk the entire city when you could just pick up the phone and call your girl Supergirl and tell her to come help you out? These are questions I have, guys. Just questions that I always have. But something interesting with Ava, we did learn that Ava's real body actually did die and that she actually is the mirror clone. So she is the double. She had this flash drive that she was reluctant to watch this entire time because she remembers, her husband telling her, you're not really, Ava. Ava died. And so she doesn't want to believe it, but finally, after she reads an article that Allegra wrote saying that Flash saved, the city again from something that she tried to do, she watches the video and she sees her body fall, but like part of her, like her mirror image basically go into the mirror. And Iris is having the same reaction. Like she's touching the mirror and it's almost like it's liquid now. I don't know if that's her getting out. I don't know if she's becoming more like Ava and developing, those mirror powers, which would be very interesting and give her something to do more than in the series. But it's very interesting. I kind of like where they're going with that, so I'm happy that we get to see that. I did not enjoy poor Chester P being made to feel like he wasn't as important or as smart as Nash, but it's only because Barry has a bias for Wells. And I wanted to reach in and tell Chester that don't feel bad. I know you made logical sense asking about the stability of these particles and him just blowing you off because Nash said it. It's because he always sees the versions of Wells that have always helped him, even though technically the original Wells did. Wendell technically he did, but he was also a villain. He was also Reverse Flash. But yeah, he definitely has a bias for Wells. Absolutely. Some other things I just want to call out. My daughter took some excellent notes from me, by the way. And some of the notes that she wrote in phrasing are very problematic. And you'll see it more on the Superman and Lois review of this live stream. But yeah, she basically thought the same thing I did. Ava may be a bad person, but she's definitely keeping Iris alive and with internet access. What kind of villain wants to keep you in the mirror world and gives you computer access, internet access, like all of this time to get clues of leaving? I'm like, yeah. I'm just like, it's just really, really, really weird. It's something that I just thought was very interesting. I thought everything about that, all about Iris' situation. She can't leave. Ava's like, you'll never get out of here, but she still makes it very, very easy for her to research ways to get out of here. I'm just throwing that out there because it's a little bit on the odd side, guys. It's a little bit on the odd side. All right, so that is my Flash portion of this review. So now we're going to jump into Superman and Lois. So much. So I love the fact that the beepers are our ELTs. I love that we have names for them. It's awesome. Jordan is, according to my daughter's notes, mad salty that he can't go to school. And she calls Captain Luthor Leadman Luthor, so God bless her, is looking for kryptonite. So basically Captain Luthor needs kryptonite to power his suit. So right now, when he tries to take on Superman, he gets his A handed to him a few times. The alternate Lex wants to stop Kal-El from this world, from ruining this world like Kal-El did on his world. Which is very interesting. It's almost like an Injustice type scenario. You've got the dark, Superman, where probably Lois is dead. He probably lost his kids. He's just crazy. And that's who Captain Luthor, basically fought in his world. And interestingly, what we learned in this episode is that Lois's father, Sam, was also his commander in his world. So in this episode, he kind of Captain Luthor goes to Sam and gives him, his version of dog tags and says, we're pretty much the same. So basically he finds the Sam on this Earth that's the basic doppelganger on his Earth that Superman pretty much killed with his heat vision, because he killed almost everybody in his unit with heat vision. I don't know what sets it off, but Sam Lane already talks a lot of mad crap to Clark and has been since episode 1. So it's a pilot episode. So yeah. It's a very interesting scenario because what he really did was he already put more of a seed of doubt in Sam Lane's mind. And Sam Lane doesn't need much. He's already mad that he moved his daughter and his grandchildren out to Smallville to live on a farm. And he's very mad that he told the boys that he's Superman. He feels like he ruined his daughter's life and he's ruining his grandkids' life. So he already has that spark of annoyance and unacceptance. And now I think with the introduction of, Captain Luther in his life is going to get a hell of a lot worse. So yeah, that is definitely a thing. I do, like I said, my daughter took some very cool notes because my daughter is just very cool. So I like to enjoy the episode. So I had her transcribe things for me. So some of these wonderful notes that I have are verbatim my daughter. And this is what she said. Captain Luther goes to the Department of Defense and stands there menacingly while incredibly ineffective bullets attempt to do literally nothing at all of any of the remote usage. And even though the USA says saves more money for the military than for living wages, these bullets still don't do shit, and nobody has the balls apparently to ask for more efficient weaponry against the weekly effing alien invasions that this one damn town in Kansas seems to keep getting in every freaking episode. I mean, I can't argue with that. So let's go to Kal-El. Kal-El continues, according to my child, to be the worst dad of the year. Starting to think he should have gone to get milk a few years ago. Yes, that is literally a no. And I have to agree that Kal-El is trying. He is trying to be there for his sons. The only problem that I have with this scenario is everything. Number one, you are Superman. You are never going to be able to separate your superhero identity and your moral compass to always have to save everyone from being a dad, just being a regular dad there for his kids. There's no way. And we've seen a lot of stuff going on in the Kent family. And what I mean by that is Lois and Jonathan seem to be the ones that sacrifice for their counterpart, their super counterparts, basically. Lois really, you can tell deep down, she really did not want to move to Smallville, but her husband wanted to go there. She wanted to do it for her family. So she followed her husband. And Jonathan basically implies the same thing. I moved here from my brother because he needed to be here. I gave up my identity in Metropolis. And he tells his mom, we both gave up our identity in Metropolis. So yeah, lots of problems already, but let me tell you why my daughter thinks that Kal-El is the worst dad of the year, and I can't disagree with this. I think the ship she's selling on is strong. If you have one superpowered kid, but you have twin boys, why can't the other boy go to the Fortress of Solitude and just know the history of Krypton? You don't even have to, do any testing on him. I actually think they should have done testing on him, to be fair, because Jonathan Kent is prime Superboy. But I feel like he ostracized the other kid so that he's treating Jonathan, now that he thinks he has no powers and isn't like him, like Lois. He loves his wife. He respects his wife. At the end of the day, he's not going to be flying her around the Fortress of Solitude to listen to the Kryptonian encyclopedia that is his holographic dad. So I feel like that right there is effed up. You're literally causing animosity between not only brothers, but twins. And you're calling yourself a good father. I digress. You're not. And I'm surprised Lois went around with that. And then having Jordan not be able to go to school, that's just bull crap. That is bull crap. I have a big jug of water, guys, because allergy season. I find that crazy. But just the look on Jordan's face, he was like, okay, I'm a freak again. You're literally telling me I can't go to school, and I get his point of view, even though he has severe anger management issues. This kid, you just said, is special after thinking he was never special. And now you're like, you're so special, you can't go to school because, you are kind of a freak. That's basically what the parents have said. I mean, they got more family drama than the Pierces. And Lightning, that's saying something. So, yeah. Yeah, guys. Yeah. Uh-huh. And so Kal-El takes Jordan to get tested by his dad. And his dad basically determines that Jor-El determines that Jordan, who he is, I guess, was named after, which is interesting spin. I mean, I get the Jor part, but what about the Dan? He doesn't have enough, his human DNA is not capable of producing enough sun absorption to be like Kal-El. So he's like a accidental Superman. He can have powers accidentally some of the time and not all the time, which I don't think is true. I mean, we're not going to listen to Jor-El. I mean, we're just not. We didn't listen to him in OG Smallville. We're not going to listen to him here. So I don't know where we're going to get from this point, but I think that both of the boys do have powers. I do think things are sucking more for Jonathan, though, because yes, he was a golden boy in Metropolis, and yes, his brother had social anxiety, so he had it a lot rougher. But his brother, Jordan's the one that kissed Sarah, and unfortunately, Jonathan was the one that became a target because Jordan wasn't at school. And I think it was also because he was going out for football. And they made him look like a fool. They didn't let him get his playlist. I mean, this is some first class bullying. So, yeah, this definitely reminds me of OG Clark's adventures on the original Smallville. And that I'm actually thankful for. And I love that they still have the same, like, it still looks really good. The filming quality is really good. So I am okay with that too. But so let me move on. I'm going to go back up because my daughter took some awesome, guys. These notes, these notes are so good. Okay. So back to Lois. She is still 100% going after Morgan. I like to call him Morgan. Morgan is like, not only does he own the Daily Planet and he wants to come and retrofit the minds of Smallville, this man is like conniving because she invites herself, even though she is a member of the town now, to the city council meeting where he just miraculously shows up, completely planned, to inspire all the Smallville people to approve, his plan to save their town. So she, Lois starts questioning him, saying, well, what about all these other towns that kind of went under that you didn't give a crap about, and you kind of moved on, you weren't even paying a living wage. And, he spinned it. He literally spinned that on her saying, wow, he was just like, so I guess you guys need to decide if, you want to take a chance on saving your town, because it seems like not everybody wants Smallville to be successful. I'm like, oh, like, no, he did not. No, he didn't. I'm like, yes, he did. So Lois, as I said in my last review, when we reviewed the pilot, I told you that Morgan was going to be Lois's enemy. That was going to be her nemesis this season. So her nemesis is Morgan. And, Captain Luthor is going to be right now Superman. He'll probably have more, but the main one is definitely that. And I'm really interested in Captain Luthor because Captain Luthor's storyline is actually, it seems like it's actually a very honorable man who just doesn't want a repeat on that world like his. So that's interesting. It's bad when you sympathize with the villain already. So plus I like his actor. He's very, very good. He's very good. He has me sympathizing for him already, and that's kind of sad. So I'm not rooting for Superman right now. But Lois taking on Morgan, she wrote a story expose, submitted it to the Daily Planet. He rewrote it, spun it the way he wanted. So her response was perfect. She literally went there and said, you rewrote my story. And so he talked trash, and she's like, so I guess real reporting doesn't happen here anymore. And then she took the envelope and she said, this is some of the best writing I've ever done. Put it down. It's literally 2 words. I quit. I'm like, this is the moment that Bitsy, the actress who plays Lois, literally felt like Lois Lane to me. That one moment, that's something I could see Erica Durance doing from Smallville. That was Lois. That was Lois. Absolutely. How she marched off that elevator and then went back in and was like, bitch. I'm like, okay. Now we'll say that the editor of the Smallville Gazette, I think that's the name of it, is creepy to me. I mean, you don't stare at people like that. And plus they got somebody who reminds me of the girl who plays Olive Oil in the old Robin Williams Pie movie. So it really freaked me out seeing her. But it's late. Maybe I'm crazy, but I really, that whole stalkers thing, and then her making up an editor when she's literally the only person working in that magazine, like literally the only one, was interesting. But somehow I knew when she said, if you ever want to write an article for me, for my editor, we definitely print it because she's your biggest fan. I knew she was talking about herself. I mean, and not only that, I knew that Lois was going to quit the Daily Planet because it's hard to commute back and forth. I mean, yes, technically is COVID, even though I don't know if there's COVID in this universe. But going back and forth from New York to Kansas, which honestly, it did seem like she did. Like, it did seem like she just went back and forth from Metropolis. Is Metropolis in Kansas again? Questions. I'm going to have to look this up now. I don't know if it's actually in New York or if it's actually in downtown Kansas. Because, I mean, to be fair, Clark could have flown her there, I guess, and then flown out there and got her. She could have took a plane, but why when your husband can fly? I wouldn't be spending money. Or she could have driven it, but I don't think the car was gone. So, yeah, questions. So, yeah, I did like that entire interaction. The whole thing with Lana and Kyle is still bugging the hell out of me. Now, I will say Kyle tried to smooth things over a little bit. He wasn't as passive aggressive with Lois this time, like when she was writing the article and he saw her in the diner, and when they invited when Lana invited the Kent family to the barbecue, and she was like, he's like, well, I don't have a tofu burger for you, and she's like, I want a rack, I just want a rack of ribs. What the hell? And so, when he closed down the grill at first, I thought he was like, no ribs for you, biatch. But actually he gave it to her. But I like how he was basically trying to say, I researched what you said, but those people were trying to unionize and they need to make a profit. So he's trying to justify it. I think on some level, Kyle is listening to Lois. He just loves his town and thinks that these city dwellers don't need to come in here and tell him how to run his little small town world. So Kyle right now is the big man on campus. I think there's a lot more to him and Kyle's history. He's definitely jealous. Not Kyle, Clark. He's definitely like really jealous of Clark, because remember I think in the second part of the pilot episode, Lana was still like trolling, Clark's Facebook page. Why does Clark have a Facebook page? But anyway, whatever, whatevs. Questions I have, guys. But I think that Kyle is very jealous of Clark because he thinks his wife is still into him. And I do too. I think that is 100% true. I think that Lana also has a secret. And I think she's working with Morgan, because I don't think that she didn't know that he bought her bank. I don't know. They're just making them seem too naive. And I don't think that's what it is. They have not survived this long. Like, if you go back to the pilot and when they were talking about when Clark and Lois decided to buy the farm, you should see the look on Lois's face. This was not my old flames moving back with, the family and I'm jealous. No, it was more like, oh, you're screwing up our plans type look. So I am very interested to see if that is what's playing out here, because I really, really think that is. So yeah, there's that. Something else. So when the first fight that we see between Captain Luthor and, Superman, and basically Superman is beating the whole crap out of him. Like he beat the crap out of him. And then he realizes that Captain Luthor's ship, is armed and going to kill a bunch of people because there's another bomb. It's like they took the bomb off the Flash's plane and put it on the plane in Superman and Lois. I don't know if that was timed or if they were just sharing props or what was happening right there, but that's what happened. So Superman runs off to save the populace from the explosions because Captain Luthor gave him an ultimatum. It's me or the people. And I'm like, man, grab that foe by his leg and fly him up and then go push the plane and throw him and the plane into the sun. What the hell's wrong with you, Clark? But my daughter wrote, Superman runs off to save the populace from the explosions, then takes it up into space to go boom. He literally stands there and takes the bomb like a bitch. So it's true. I'm like, this is the CW pattern, apparently. We must stare into danger. I mean, I keep seeing it on multiple shows. He pushes the plane, they break the Earth's atmosphere, the gravitational or non-gravitational pull of Earth, zero gravity should have pulled this, ship because he pushed it, should have had no issue, just cruising on into the sun. He's standing there like, and then it goes boom, and then he goes knocked out. And I'm like, what did you think was going to happen? How many times have we done this, Clark? I'm like, what did you think was going to happen? I'm like, Self-preservation. I don't understand. I don't care if you are bulletproof. I don't care if you can't, if it's very hard to kill you. I don't care if the comics have established that you can literally like be knocked down by doomsday and just hibernate and split into people and then come back like nothing's wrong with longer hair. No, you do not stand there and watch the damn plane, the ship go off and then be like, oh, like, you know what's going to happen. You don't need to see it. It's elementary, dude. It's physics. You don't need to witness this. You don't need to witness it. So yeah, that was a moment that I will never get back. I love this show so far, though. I'm just keeping it real. Keeping it real. The whole Sarah's boyfriend and his jock strap friends, my daughter's quote, being douchebags to Jonathan, though. It is interesting. I love how Jonathan asked Sarah, why do you date this guy? And she's like, he can be sweet. I'm like, Lana. Like, Lana and mini Lana. I mean, both the mother and daughter are perfectly cast because they act the exact same way. So, I mean, you know what it is. But now it seems like they got to make another suit because it seems like Lex's suit is trash because so when Captain Luthor, it looks like he went to go see Sam, you know, the Sam of Superman's Earth. It looked like he was in the suit, but actually it was being remote controlled. So when Superman punched through it, and I mean, he punched through it and then took off the helmet, it was, you know, there was nothing there. It was all, just think of it like an android or like Jarvis in Iron Man. And you see Captain Luthor looking, you know, over in the monitor. And then, you know, of course, the AI is saying we need to make another suit, but it's going to take time to get the materials. So I'm curious where they're getting these materials from. I will point out something else, guys. I will point this out, even though I said that I do believe the mother box is how he's making this stuff. So the scene where he first goes to get kryptonite, he has a location. He goes to get kryptonite. He picks this guy up and he's like, open it. And the guy like, does something, scans it. So it opens the door. Answer this question for me, guys. Self-preservation, 101. If the villain needs you to open the door, and the villain turns his back and walks in said door, what is stopping you from closing said door and not opening it again? Therefore, trapping said villain inside vault. I'm just saying. Just saying. Did not understand that. So I am convinced that in every one of these shows, people just don't care about life. Like, care about life. They don't care. They don't care. I had to point that out though, because I mean, it really cracked me up because the whole time I was thinking, like when he was on there, I'm like, close the door. He's in there. He's like 6-7 feet in there. Close the door. Close the damn door. And he's like standing there. He literally got up and stood in the door. Was like, what are you looking for? I don't have any kryptonite. I'm like, oh my gosh, just shoot him. We're done with this. We're done. We're absolutely done. But yeah, this episode was very interesting. So we're pretty much, we're on Morgan's trail. He's up to something. He wants something out of those mines. I don't know what he wants, but Lois thinks he's just there to destroy small towns and move on to next for profit. I think there's something more nefarious going on with him. So I think Lois has a lot, like she's going to be dealing with a lot. I actually think she's going to have a harder time than Clark is with Captain Luthor, to be honest. So I think Morgan's story is a lot more interesting right now than Captain Luthor's, even though I really think this is like an injustice thing. I don't know. Something made the Clark or Kal-El of that Earth snap, and I want to know what it is. So I am intrigued. This is a very intriguing, story. The only other thing I thought was cool is the bond between the twins, like the fact that Jordan does come and say, I'm sorry, I know you've been here for me. The least I can do is be here for you. And then, him saying, I'm like a failure. I'm nothing like dad. And Jonathan saying, no, if, forget what holograms, I love that name, hologram said, if he doesn't think that you're special, then I believe you are, and I'll help you figure it out. So I love that. And I think through Jonathan helping Jordan figure out his powers, he's probably going to develop powers too. Cause I don't think it's a one-off. I don't think that both twins, that both twins don't have powers, especially since Jonathan technically was the one that was born. Jordan is an after echo or effect of Crisis, which also could be what Captain Luthor is. He could be a side effect of Crisis. There are lots of side effects of Crisis. So which is sad because Crisis didn't really seem to do much else in the CW or Arrowverse. But it did create a lot of anomalies and a lot of questions that may never be answered because it was a mistake to begin with. But yeah. So let me look at some of your comments, guys, because yeah, that was in a nutshell our Flash and Superman and Lois experience. So let me see here. Hello, Cheston. Let's see. Your daughter's on point. Not the worst dad. He's not the worst dad because he's never around. I'm like, I don't understand why Lois and Clark got together and thought it was a good idea to separate these boys and have Clark take the one with the powers to only learn about his father's background and story and heritage, and, send the other one off to school to be bullied. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. I don't know what parents. I am a parent. I have one child and I have a dog, and even I know they fight. So, why would you treat them differently? Especially twins. That is so stupid. So I have issues with that. I also don't understand in general. Like, I don't know what's happening in Clark's head. I really don't. He's so paranoid that he's not close to Jordan because Jordan's the one that he gives him trouble. And Jonathan's kind of like Lois. It's kind of like, it's okay, Dad. Whatever you want, Dad. I'm here, Dad. Don't worry, Dad. I got this, Dad. That he doesn't think that, hey, this other kid is also my son and he may have feelings and he may need me to be around too, or put himself in Jonathan's shoes, who doesn't have powers right now, seeing them fly out together like son bonding time, and you're leaving me with Mom and a bunch of people that hate me at school. That's messed up. That is messed up. But I will tell you who actually runs things in that house, and that is Lois Lane. Because when they were fighting, she's like, I understand that this sucks for you, and I understand this sucks for you, but we said we're going to this barbecue. We came here as a family, so get dressed. And she walked off, and then everyone's like, well, guess we're going to the barbecue. So we know that Lois does run stuff in that house. But I don't understand why Superman believes on any level, that he can just quit his job as Superman. And it is a job because, Lois's father won't stop beeping him, and just go and live his best life, and then come home and still live his best life with his kids. You cannot be in two places at once. I don't care how fast you are. You can't. You're going to miss a football game. You're going to miss a birthday. You're going to miss something because that is the nature of your job. You guys should have known this before you had kids. So, yeah. Now, to be fair, the devil's advocate, pre-crisis? Yes, pre-crisis. They actually were not going to stay, on Earth. They were going to go stay on I call it New Krypton, with Supergirl's mother, and where they don't have any powers and they can just live out their best lives, raising their kid away from all this crap. They had chosen to leave Earth. So I think having Crisis revamp all that, and then having like this whole backstory introduced where they actually had an ultrasound with twins when that never happened. That's all Crisis After Effects stuff. Changing the timeline. It created a whole other kid that was never meant to be there. And so a lot of things got altered, except, which is really interesting. You ever find it interesting and weird that there's so many changes in the Flash and Superman and Lois and Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow. There's so many like little changes, minute changes, but not in Black Lightning. That man came from Crisis and went right back to dealing with the ASA and Gravedigger and everybody. Not one thing changed for the Pierces and Freeland because of Crisis. That's racism. I call racism on Crisis. Like, why you can't make any changes in the Black neighborhood? I'm just saying. Guys. I'm just speaking mad truths today. I'm sorry. This is Arrowverse Tuesday. But do you think that they'll have more kids at school with powers? So like Stargirl type scenario? Probably. That's probably how they'll introduce Young Justice. They'll probably have little Well, I don't know who they met. That's what's so weird, because at least in OG, Smallville, we knew that he met, Black Canary. He met, of course, he knew Green Arrow. He knew all of these, characters from the Justice League, Justice Society of America, Legion. I don't know who this Clark has met, because he was basically cast as somebody who was going to be in Supergirl, as Supergirl's cousin. So I don't actually know. I don't know. I would like to have like some kids from Young Justice. I think that would be cool. It would definitely bring that whole Smallville, because remember, Smallville used to have the Meteor Rock, powered kid of the week. So it'd be kind of cool to have something where we had different, I guess they'd have to come up with how they had powers, but I would like to see something on that level, having like the power of the week that the twins had to deal with, on top of mom and dad dealing with the other crap. So it's not just them going to school and dealing with like high school and bullies. And there's only so many times people can bully you before you just beat their ass and move on. So, you push them. And then after that, once they have that fight and then everybody becomes magical friends, because that's what's going to happen. Then what do you got? What do you got? I mean, it's sad because half their classes are outside in like trailers. Apparently, she's like outside in Mobile One. I'm like, what? So we know this whole town has no money. But yeah, I do wonder what they're going to do after all of that. So I'm sure they have a plan. They have an outline, hopefully. But yeah, it would be really cool if they actually had powers. I would be down with that. Had just different kids or different people that have powers, and some good, some nefarious. It'd be really, really cool. Didn't they say there were going to be a love triangle between Clark and Lana and Lois? I don't know. I will say it was very weird for me when Clark first saw Lana for the first time after all those years, and the smile on his face. That was interesting. But the show is still called Superman and Lois, so I don't put any like real faith in anything really happening. But I mean, just for dramatic purposes, it is the CW. They probably will do some crap like that, because in the OG series, Lana was Clark's first love, and then he got with Lois, and that was his soulmate. And, Lois had a lot of issues with her jealousy for Lana. So, starting out. So you never know. Well, in Smallville, they made it seem like Metropolis was just hours away from Smallville. I know. And I'm really wondering if that's what's going to happen. Are they just a hip skip and a jump 24 traffic lights away from Metropolis? It seems weird though, right? It just seems really weird to have Lois be able to just go to Metropolis like that. I'm going to suspend my disbelief and say that Clark flew her there, and he's going to fly and pick her up. I will say it's something else that's interesting. Clark in OG Smallville had to hide his powers a lot because you never knew who was going to drive up on the farm. This version, they don't hide anything. He's flying. He's picking up trucks and flying. He's like flying up and nailing stuff in the house and fixing stuff. And I'm like, don't they think that somebody could just drop in? And I know people will say, well, he has super hearing. I'm like, okay, but still, that's so negligent. You're trying to teach Jordan to be careful with his powers, and you're like just flying all over the place. It's very weird. Lana is Sugar Mama. I mean, I think she definitely looks like they have money. That house is pretty cool. She had that big island. They're not, I don't think that they're poor. I mean, she does work at the bank. I think she's the manager of a bank, and her husband is a firefighter. So they're not poor. They're just dysfunctional. You can tell that they have a dysfunctional marriage. Smallville played fast and loose with the distance to and from Metropolis. Yeah, they really did. I don't know if they're going to continue that trend. I really hope not. I hope Metropolis is not in downtown Kansas. That would be very effing weird for me. It really would. But again, I don't know. But I do know that Jordan's anger problems are instantaneous. They need to figure out his meds, because he is very aggressive. Like, he's just a very aggressive twin. You have a twin that's kind of laid back. Yes, he can get upset, but he's more in control of his anger. And then you've just got Jordan, who just exudes rage. Like, he feels like he's holding all of the rage that his father never lets out. Everything that Superman has had to repress went into this child because he gets angry like nobody's business. Like he just snaps. He's literally just snaps. And even in the preview that I saw for next week, he's like, maybe you should just stay. I think I like you better when you're never at home. I mean, he just like, and I knew this. I said from the trailer, you can watch my trailer review. I said that kid was going to be a problem. Before I even knew he had issues, I said that kid's going to be a problem. Yeah, he's interesting. You said Jordan is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. A little bit. I try not to make fun of mental illness, but I'm not sure it's mental illness. I think it's rage. I really do. I think that there's just rage issues in him. I think he has a lot of anger and he doesn't know how to channel it and he doesn't know what to do with it properly. Because the only people he's really nice to a majority of the time is his brother and the girl he has a crush on. He pretty much snaps at everybody else and he doesn't care. Oh no, not teen rage issues. It is the CW. So yeah, teen rage issues. But yeah, that kid, I don't know. I don't think they spanked him enough as a child. Like if I would, let me put it this way. If I would have talked to, especially my mother, if I would have talked to my mother the way Jordan talks to his parents, yeah, there wouldn't be a succession to the Kryptonian line because the Kryptonian line would have died right there in that moment when I raised my voice. I would be gone. I would have been out, gone. That's why people that I see hating over here about having a black Superman, which they had Calvin in the comics, and they could have a black Superman. There's nowhere in there that said the Kryptonian, which is an alien race, has to be white. But if they went by the stereotypes of Earth, if he was adopted by a black family, guess what? And Clark wouldn't be talking smack. Clark wouldn't be talking smack. And if he was married to Lois, they had kids wouldn't be talking smack too. He'd be like, look, I know I got to restrain my strain, but I'm about to tan that ass. And I'm like, you lost your mind, boy. I'm like, lost it. Be like Lois Lane. I'm like, look, you yelling at me? I'm about to knock you so hard, your reincarnations are going to cry. I'm like, no. No, so that's what's wrong with Jordan. He just needs his butt whooped a little bit, just a tiny bit, spank him a little bit. Because when you let children have their way too much, they yell at you and then try to dominate the world. Hence Brightburn. I'm just saying. I'm like, we don't need another one of those movies in this script. Bad 18. I know. Hey, I'm just speaking truths here. And I am. But yeah, overall, though, I really enjoyed this episode. I really did. So the Flash and Superman and Lois were not bad. I will say, if I'm going to compare the two episodes for our, Arrowverse Tuesday conversation, the Flash, even though Iris is stuck in the Mirrorverse and it's a little creepy, it seemed to be a lot campier. And I think that that's just how that show is, because the whole, there's so much serious stuff going on, but then you got the whole thing with Wells and Barry being, having all of the particles of Wells in him and all of those scenes that just were really goofy. There's so much goofiness, and they have nicer villains in a way, because again, as I said with Ava in the Mirrorverse, she has everything there for Ava. If Iris was going to die, if Ava was like, you are not going to live, you don't give her food, you don't give her water, and you sure as hell don't give her internet access. I'm like, you just don't. Yeah, don't. So it sucks that she's stuck in the mirror world and she can't get out, but girl's not trying to kill her. She's not trying to kill her because Iris has something that other characters don't have, and it is main character insurance. So I have no doubt that Iris is getting out of the Mirrorverse. No doubt. Now, in what state she's getting out of, that's a whole other question, but I'm telling you, in terms of being kidnapped, she's definitely thriving in comparison to some other stories. So I'm okay with that. Superman and Lois is definitely a little bit darker. It does have that Smallville, Man of Steel, vibe. I think the house they're using is the Man of Steel house, if I remember the farm correctly. I want to say that's the whole set for Man of Steel. Not 100% on that, but I think it is. But I will say that the town is treating Clark like he's not even from Smallville, and he effing grew up there, so it's like the whole, you don't belong, then trying to figure out what Morgan's doing and trying to figure out about Captain Luthor and trying to keep Jordan from losing his Cocoa Puffs and, basically treating your other son, who was your golden boy, like he's not sacrificed his entire life to move out to the boonies, because that's what he did. Not to mention with your mother now quitting her job and your father not really having a job. I don't know what they're going to do for money. And number two, like, how are they going to pay off this mortgage for for the farm? And how is Jonathan going to go to school? Because you just took him from a school in Metropolis that would have gave him probably a free ride through his quarterback, role, football scholarship on the team. And now he's going to Smallville, where he can't even get on the team half because they won't give him the playbook. And that coach is just crap. I hate to say this about a teacher, but you saw them knock him down and you were like, I'll blow my whistle. You saw that and you did nothing. So yeah, definitely darker. Definitely darker. The mother boxes are coming on Superman and Lois. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the mother box has been there. I think that's how he gets his suit, I think that's how he got his first suit. So I know the mother box is coming. Jordan going to be in a predicament when he develops X-ray vision. Yes, when he stares at Sarah and gets horny. It worked in the other Smallville. Flash does have nice villains. I mean, I'm just saying, the only villain that was really, really bad to me, well, there are a few, but they didn't stay long. They were like micro, like Godspeed was a micro villain. He was like in and out in like 5 minutes. Salvatore was actually Barry. So Salvatore being Barry kind of negates that being a villain. It just means you're cray-cray and this is your dark side. So that was nothing. All the other ones, they weren't trying to kill anybody. Like, if they really were trying to kill these people in the Flash, they'd be dead. I'm just saying. Let's see here. I guess I will watch Superman on CW streaming then. So you haven't been watching it, Kevin? I love you guys. Come and hang out with me, even though you haven't seen the show yet. You guys are awesome. Awesome. Let's see. Heat vision is the worst power for a teenager to have. Yeah, especially when you don't know how to use it. It's pretty good though if you're like me and you make tea a lot and you don't feel like going and putting it back in the microwave because it got cold in like 5 minutes and you just like heat it up automatically. That's what you use heat vision for. Screw the other stuff. Thank you. Krypton probably has more races than just white. I'm sorry. I've never understood the logic. Like, Kendor is a whole freaking city of Kryptonians. You're going to tell me every one of them in there is white. Now, in the 60s, probably, because we all know how problematic comics were back in the day. They didn't consider other nationalities of any shade. They rarely put them in. If they did, it was like the biggest thing ever. We have a black superhero, and now we have an Asian. Yay, we're progressive. And now you're looking back and you're like, you guys are full of crap. So I understand in the 60s, 40s, 50s, 70s, that was not a concept. But you can't tell me from the late 80s on, when Prince and Michael Jackson were like binking and everybody was dancing to, Purple Rain and freaking Thriller, that nobody thought to put minorities on Krypton. I don't think so. No, I call BS. This is all people screaming agenda and crying. I don't care. It's what they do. But the people that normally scream agenda, oh my God, you're taking your gender bending and race bending our characters, are normally the ones that at the end of the day, when they log off their computers, they live normal lives and don't worry about discrimination or anything coming at them. So we don't really listen to these people because they are full of shit. So that's how I feel about that. I want my ginger Lana Lang. I've been saying that forever. She was not ginger in Man of Steel. She's not ginger here, and she was not ginger in the old school Smallville. There were 2 times she was ginger. The Superboy TV series with Stacey Hayek, and when Annette O'Toole, who played Martha on Smallville, old school Smallville, when she played Lana in the Christopher Reeves Superman 3 movie. She was ginger. But yeah, outside of that, for some reason, they will not make her hair red. But let's look at Man of Steel. They made Lois Lane a blonde, which is kind of funny because if you know comic book lore, Lucy was actually blonde. And every time Lucy did something stupid, Lois would say something, it's probably because you're blonde, right? So she always made blonde jokes about her sister, and then they made her a blonde in Man of Steel. So yeah, I don't know why we can't have nice things, but whatever. Now, I do think that the woman who plays Lana in this is pretty. She's very gorgeous. So, and Kristen Crook is pretty. So it's not like we're downgrading on the Loises. I'm sorry, on the Lana Langs. But traditionally in the comics, for some reason, she's not allowed to have red hair. I guess Mary Jane Watson is the only red they can have when they have her. That's all I got. Let's see here. Who's Stacey Farber playing? I don't know. Huh. Let's see. I will find that out for you, because that's what we do at Arrowverse Tuesday. We look up Arrowverse stuff because why not? Stacey Farber will be playing Leslie Larr in a reoccurring role on Superman and Lois. Now this girl, ironically, has red hair. Oh, that's hilarious. Somebody, she's gonna be. Wait, not Lori. Isn't Lori Larr the mermaid? Is Leslie Larr a spinoff of Lori? Was Lori's last name Larr? There was a mermaid that used to be in Smallville back in the comics. Her name was Lori. I wonder if that could be. But more than likely, this is a made-up character. So I don't know. But I remember there was a Lori in Smallville that Clark had a thing with, and she was a mermaid. It's been a minute, guys. I used to read Superboy comics a long time ago. Long time ago. I'm almost 45. I started reading comics when I was like 6 or 7 because my dad was in the comics. So I've forgotten half of what I know. But yeah, I think Lori Lamaris, I think was her name. Lori Lamaris was the mermaid. So that's probably a different character. So I don't know who this is, but the girl has red hair, and I think that's extremely funny. Flash villains are like PR Power Ranger villains. Yes, they are, Kevin. They don't attack until after school. They let you take your exams. They let you have your birthdays. If they do interrupt your birthday, it's only for 30 minutes and you can get right back to partying. You are absolutely correct. Morgan is a manipulative butthole, but now my new defense in Arrowverse, if people are problematic and they do shady stuff that I don't like, I seek Tobias Well from Black Lightning on them. I'm like, I'm gonna tell Tobias. Welcome to my live stream, guys. It's crazy. Dang, Clark sleeping with mermaids. Yep, it happened in the comics, guys. It happened in the comics. Let's see here. Anger management classes. I think Jordan would benefit from them unless his powers went out of control and he ended up like setting everybody on fire. Because that is a real thing. I'm not going to say that Clark and Lois don't have legit concerns about how problematic their anger management team is in terms of losing his crap and causing his powers to go crazy. But my thing is, if you're going to keep one twin home, keep both of them home and homeschool them. Because there is this thing called homeschooling. It's a thing. We've been doing it since 2020 because of COVID. So, it's not like it's new. Homeschool these children if you don't want one of them going to school causing a ruckus. Plus, you do not know, 100% with a shadow of a doubt that your other twin doesn't have powers. You don't know. You won't know until something happens and it falls on him if he doesn't die or he doesn't save someone or he doesn't get turned on by somebody and use heat vision like in the OG Smallville show. You don't know. So I'm just saying. Thank you. Krypton probably had more races than just white. I think I already read that one. Sorry about that, Kevin. Got to reiterate the point. I hate when this I always told you about the chat in StreamYard that goes up and down. I try, guys. I really do. Being a superhero is never easy. Yep. And they're not compensated. Now I'm just going to ask these questions. I really hope they have a really good savings account because they don't have Lois's money anymore. I guess they can borrow money from her dad since he's a 4 or 5-star general at the Department of Defense. He's got money. But then he'll just look down on Clark. I guess they really are going to get into farming. But how are they going to how are they going to pay off this loan without money? Do they think about this stuff? I think the problem that I have with CW shows as a whole, not just the Arrowverse, is that they want people like us, and I just say us on a general basis because there are people that have money on here, I'm pretty sure. But people like me and my family, for instance, who have to work their butt off and still really only get check or live check to check, enough to pay our bills and maybe have a little bit on the side, but not much. They want us to believe that you can just quit your jobs and still be able to live. I'm like, and I don't really know why that is something they want us to believe, because it's not believable. Because when I watch this and then I look at my fridge and realize I haven't gone to the grocery store because it's not payday, it doesn't track with me. I'm just putting it out there. It does not track. So Lois quitting this job where she was a Pulitzer winning investigative reporter, meaning that she had a salary and now she has no salary because she's not going to she can't even claim, like any type of unemployment because she quit. She wasn't fired. She quit. She wasn't let go. She wasn't laid off. She quit. She gets no money. And her husband got fired in episode 1. So Superman's not paying any bills because Superman doesn't have a salary. How are they going to live? How are they going to eat? What's going to happen now? Just asking. ATN, didn't DC Comics do a Black Kryptonian comic book a while ago? Yep. They absolutely did. As a matter of fact, not just one. That's the thing, though. And I don't understand, because a lot of people think that they're going to do Calvin Ellis, which they could. They could. Because if you think about it, Nubia is from the same Earth. So for me, they could bring Nubia in as another Wonder Woman if they want to revamp everything, which is going to suck for Gal Gadot. Because Diana would be like, what's the point? But after she forced herself on a man unwillingly in her movie, she's not high. I love Wonder Woman. I love Xena. They're how I found out that I was queer. But that was a problematic scene in that movie. And so if they wanted to revamp that, I'm completely okay with that and bring Nubia in and have Calvin Ellis, because they're technically on the same Earth, be the new Man of Steel. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. Or Velzot. I can see that too. I just like Calvin because Calvin is on the same Earth as Nubia. And that gives me hope that we'll have Nubia as Wonder Woman. I think that will be F&A. But will they do that? I don't know. Because again, this is an Abrams. I know he's doing it with someone else, but it's an Abrams movie. And he didn't do bad with the first. He didn't do bad. He did okay with the first Star Trek reboot movie. I was not happy with his Star Wars movies. So it's kind of like hit or miss. It's hit or miss. I don't know what he's going to do in terms of rebooting Man of Steel. So yeah. But I mean, I'd be cool with Velzot. I just really think that Calvin Ellis would be awesome, because I would love to have Nubia come in as the new Wonder Woman. Give her some love. They should do a Nubia movie. If DC did a good effing Nubia movie, that would put them back on the map. People would flock to them. They really would. They won't, but they should. I don't know what Static Shock's going to do. I don't know if Static Shock's going to be associated with the DCEU. Does anyone know? I don't know. I would love to know if there's some way that's going to tie in. Are they going to revamp Black Lightning? Is that the real reason we're losing Black Lightning? Because they're actually going to put him in the DCEU? That would be cool. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. So, yeah, I imagine a JJ Superman movie with lens flare. I mean, that seems to be his favorite style. He loves putting lens flares on everything, even when it's not appropriate. There's a scene in the end of the Star Trek movie where somebody's talking. It looks like there's a lens flare coming out of their mouth. I think it was Sulu. It's so funny to me. It is so funny. But yeah. They started something that's after Future State. Future State was always an interim comic series. That's why I haven't been talking about it. Some of it's good. Some of it's problematic. Some of the characters are good, but some of it is very problematic. So I try not to get attached to series that aren't going to be a long time, because yeah, they're not. I'm not too 100% like dedicated to Future State, even though I do think that some of the stories, don't get me wrong, some of the stories are really good. But I don't know I guess my problem is I never know what DC is actually doing. Like, I want to, but I just don't. Like, I love Yara Flor. I think she's gorgeous. You know, I don't think they're capable of doing a bad Wonder Woman in terms of character designs and things like that. So I love Yara Flor. And if they had Yara Flor as Wonder Woman, I would take that. Nubia or Yara would be cool in this new reinvented DCEU. The only problem that I think I'm going to have is if they do the Flashpoint movie. I know we basically exhausted what we're talking about from the Arrowverse right now, but if they do, DCEU does a brand new, on track with a plot leading to Justice League movie, it would be after Flashpoint, because Flashpoint would just take a crap on everything anyway and change everything. It's literally the DCEU's way of getting Crisis on Infinite poop from CW and putting it into the DCEU, universe. I have no idea what it's going to affect, what it's going to retcon. I mean, I don't know. For all we know, all the plans they're making could be post Flashpoint. Everything that gets messed up would be because of Flashpoint. That also means it's going to affect Aquaman. It's going to affect Shazam. It's probably going to have a big impact on when we ever get Black Adam. Like, all of these movies that we are looking forward to that are coming are going to be retconned with Flashpoint. Now, if they did Flashpoint the way Flashpoint went, and we have, Thomas Wayne as Batman and have Martha Wayne as Joker, I'm down with that because I effing love that story. But I don't know if it's going to happen. I know Michael Keaton's supposed to be doing Flashpoint, which is awesome, but I don't know if he's going to be Batman, if he's going to be Thomas Wayne Batman, if he's even going to be Bat something. I don't know. But I just feel like Flashpoint is going to be first, and then we'll get if they have cool things, it's going to be after Flashpoint, like a side effect of Flashpoint. It would be nice if Flashpoint erased Ezra Miller and we had Wally West. Yeah, I need to stop. I don't like Ezra Miller as Barry. I just don't. I can't help it. Supergirl needs to be in Smallville. Some apps. I think so too. I know that Melissa Benoist, I could never say her last name. We're gonna call her Melissa Benny. She had a baby with the actor who plays Manel, who she's married to in real life, and so I think that's another reason why she decided to leave the show. So with that being said, I think that they probably have plans for her to do a cameo when they start shooting her series. But even with COVID, it's hard. And imagine the quality difference. Imagine Supergirl characters going over to, Superman and Lois. It would look like they go back home and think, what happened? Why do we look like this? What's happening? That's why I don't really foresee the Flash being able to do a crossover with, Superman and Lois because of the quality difference. I mean, his CG would probably look really effing cool in Superman and Lois. But then you take Superman to go back to Flash, sometimes they go on each other's shows and then it would look cartoonish now. So I don't know. I don't know how they would pull that off. And I don't think that they would just for one episode on The Flash or on whatever show film in the same quality because it costs a lot of money to use those cameras. So I don't know how they're going to do a crossover at all. Even Stargirl's quality, honestly, the Stargirl series has better cameras and it did, but now it's fully CW. So they might actually have gone down in quality. I don't know, but I feel like the quality that they use to film that is definitely higher than the quality in The Flash. Now, to be fair though, they've got Luke Wilson in it. So, I mean, they got to make sure if you got celebrities and stuff, that you want to at least give them a reason to want to come to work. So I guess it just really depends on who's starring in your show. Because Grant Gustin, he came from Glee, and Candace Patton was on that show, The Game, on BET. But, they've done small things, but they weren't established. And honestly, nobody really was that established on that show. Yes, they've been in other things, and some of them notable, like Danielle Panabaker was on Sky High. I love Sky High. I thought that was a really cool movie, but that doesn't mean that people knew who the heck she was. She looks so much like her sister Kay Panabaker that sometimes they get mixed up. So they didn't, it's just like though that level of stardom is not enough for them to spend the money that they're spending on Superman and Lois. And Tyler and Bitsy, they've been on things like Tyler came from Teen Wolf, Bitsy came from Grimm, very popular shows, but not anything large enough that would actually give them the kind of filming that they got. But why they got it is because it's Superman. That's what it is. They will spend money on Superman. They will always spend money on their golden boy. It's just what it is. There's never going to be an iteration where they don't spend money on Superboy. I think the only exception has been they spent money on Smallville for the time period, but Lois and Clark seem to have a small budget. But outside of that, they spend money on their Superman shows and movies. So that's what that's about. It's the only exception. But yeah, I don't know how they would cross those over. It would look very weird. Hey, Fedora Society. The Superman show acts like he's the only superhero on the planet Earth. It's confusing, and it would solve a lot of the hero problems. Just call the Flash. It's weird. Well, I said the same thing about the Flash. Why the heck wasn't the Flash calling Supergirl tonight? It's like, hey, I'm not fast. You're kind of fast, and you can fly, and you've got other powers. Can you come get this bomb off this plane that's about to destroy my city? Because we're on the same Earth now, and it would take you 8 minutes to get here. I'm like, they don't do it. They don't call each other. I am pretty sure that Black Lightning is considered to be in the same prime Earth now as the rest of them, and Jefferson hasn't called anybody at any time to come to Freeland, probably because he didn't think they would come. He's like, yeah, I live in Freeland, and half of my city is kind of the hood. Oh, no, we won't have time for that. We don't have time. I mean, they're not even calling the Legends. I'm like, hey, Sarah, can you come bring the Wave Rider over and help us, get the bomb or go back in time a little bit, fix the situation because we're all about to die. No, can't really do that. No. What about going to Freeland? Say what? Okay. So no, that's not gonna happen. So yeah, today is a review and comedy hour. If you haven't figured that out, but I mean, I'm just speaking truths. They're not going to Black Lightning's unit. They're not going to his neighborhood. It's not gonna happen. It's just not. It's not. Now, one of them is going to stick a pinky toe in Freeland. So, yeah. I'm just saying. I'm sorry, Jen. Did I kill you? You're coming back from the afterlife. Speaking mad truths. I mean, my daughter got this from someone. If you guys have not been, if you weren't in the stream when I was reading the comments, my daughter was, the notes she took on this series, you have missed a treat. I'm going to have her on one of these live streams with me when we review, because she will crack you up. She is a mini me. We even look alike, but she is crazy. And the notes she takes are amazing. They're just amazing. And they speak absolute truth. She has no filter and is absolutely hysterical. But yeah. But just overall with the Flash, again, I said this earlier, it was very campy tonight. I know Iris being separated from Barry is just dark and sad, and is a love story that we need and can't have because she's trapped in a mirror. But you say it like that, it's really funny. Where's your wife? She's stuck in a mirror. Can't get my woman. It's like we can't ever see eye to eye, but we can because she's in the mirror. She's looking at me. I just don't realize it. But it's dark because Iris needs to leave the Mirrorverse. But even then, I heard rumors that they're going to have marriage problems. So I mean, I guess I would have marriage problems too. She's going to be like, why didn't you save me in time? I've been here this whole time. What were you doing? He'd be like, but baby, I only had 1% speed. That's not an excuse. I mean, when we took our vows, it said for better or worse. You were at your worst, but you should have been better. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm looking forward to the J.J. Code Superman movie. I'm totally down for a different kind of Superman story. I want a depowered Superman that follows the early college. If originally he was only able to leap, he wasn't able to fly. And I always thought that was interesting. I just don't want them to pull a Wonder Woman like they did in 1984 when she just all of a sudden knew how to fly just by leaping. She's like, I'm going to keep jumping and then I'm going to fly. I just thought that was really interesting. Where your wife? She's stuck in the mirror. How are they going to get that freak on now? I mean, that's the real problem here. But I mean, look at the flashback that Iris had. All the like this tour of the world stuff. Oh, you got this food from France, and you got this from the Antarctic, and then you got this like what was it? This like pie, this fair pie or whatever from Kansas. Clark's idea. He did name drop Clark, by the way. He couldn't call Superman. Whatever. Like, I'm just throwing it out there, guys. They really need to work together. For a Justice League, they are not a league. But to be fair, I guess there technically are only 3 members left: Barry, Sarah, and Clark. Everybody else is going away. So Kate's gone. Supergirl's going to be gone. Black Lightning's going to be gone. The whole 20, I was being generous, the whole 16 and a half minutes of Black Lightning's appearance in Crisis on Infinite Earth at least got him a chair at the table. But what does it matter? Because he's never in it. Like, he doesn't have their cell phone numbers. He doesn't know how to call anybody. Gamby doesn't know these people. He can't call anybody. I don't know if he knows their civilian names. So, I mean, what was the point of him actually being in the Justice League when he doesn't know who the League is or how to contact them when Freeland needs help? Which, again, probably won't matter because they probably aren't coming to Freeland because, you know, the cops aren't coming. Like, the heroes aren't coming either. Like, it's not in our jurisdiction. But you know how it goes. You know. Trying to read this comment. Sorry, guys. Do they have savings? See, I don't think. So I want to say that they did, but if you really think about the cost of living in Metropolis versus living on a farm, I don't know how much savings I had, because when they saw the amount the farm loan was, they were like, that's a lot of money. I know that Martha left money for the boys to go to college because she mortgaged the house and she took the loan, and she made sure she saved part of the assets for the twins to have college funds. So there is that. And they established that in the first episode of Superman and Lois. But I don't really know if they're going to be able to survive without jobs. I don't think the Smallville Gazette is going to pay a lot because the editor is literally the janitor, the printer, she does everything there. Like, I don't really know what she's going to pay somebody like Lois Lane, you know. But so this is something else I was thinking of, guys. So the internet is a very powerful place with lots of trolls and lots of viral content. So when Lois Lane's story was rewritten, why in the hell did she not go on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or even make a YouTube video or just post it on an open forum like Wattpage or something and say, this is what I really wrote. And this means this is the death of all journalism, and just break it down. The woman has won a Pulitzer. People are going to want to know why Lois Lane is basically submitting an article that she can change the title that says why I quit the Daily Planet. It would go viral. It will go viral. And then she probably would make money. She'd probably be getting all kinds of offers from people because they want to talk. She get interviews and all kinds of. Why in the hell did they make Lois Lane start submitting for the Smallville Gazette? I think they need to hire me to write some of this stuff because I just need to fix so many things. But I'm tired because there's so many shows. I want to be like CW writing rehab, but it's hard. I'm one person, and there's only so many hours in the day. Yes, Lois could be a YouTuber. She can, but she'll end up crazy like me. Like, because we have a very strict schedule, and you have to adhere to this schedule around your real life where you have 2 other jobs. I don't think she could handle being a YouTuber. She could try, but I don't think so. I need to become a superhero so I can get things for free and never pay rent or buy food, even if food is in my kitchen somehow, and then my lights still stay on. I'm telling you, look, this is what I told my daughter. If Sims 4 makes me pay bills and turns my lights off and breaks things in my house and has water flooding everywhere, then you are not going to make me believe that whole ass real people on these shows don't have bills. I'm just saying. Let's see. Trying to see if I can get a few more questions because I know we're over an hour. I'm trying so hard, guys. I am trying hard not to keep us here. But I like having you guys around. You're great. We banter. I love all of your feedback. I love all of your suggestions and theories. And I really want to know what you guys think. I try and take a catalog of some of the theories that I read from you guys just to see how accurate they are to the plot. Because at some point, I feel like we all become, especially in the Arrowverse, we become Arrowverse psychic, where we start predicting the plots because they're so predictable that we have already, at this point, mapped out the entire season, and we're only on episodes 1 and 2 of these respective shows. So I want to see just how good we are in terms of what we think is going to happen going forward. I do believe that Captain Luther and the Kal-El of this world are probably going to be friends, and possibly Captain Luther will be an ally, because that's how I feel that's going to go down. I really wonder what the Lex Luthor of Superman and Lois's Earth looks like. Is he also black? Is he closer to the Supergirl's Lex? I don't know, because it feels like John Cryer was the same Lex Luthor that this Superman dealt with. And there is a stark difference between Captain Luthor and Lex Luthor of Prime Earth. So I would love to see the interaction between them. Will there be are they going to have John Cryer on this show? And maybe he gets with the Captain, Luthor, and says, well, I hate Superman. And I think all Kryptonians are crap too. So I'll be your aide. I'll help you. Blah, blah, blah. Is that something that conceptually they'll do? I mean, they can, but will they? I don't know. So I'm just really curious to see how all these characters are going to run into each other. But, I'm getting very ambitious, and that may not be something that they're even looking at. I'm thinking we can do this. We can bring this person in, and they probably haven't even had this as a concept. So just depends. It really depends. But as far as the show, I am enjoying it. And I think I'm going to enjoy the whole Lois versus Morgan thing, just as much, if not more, as the Clark versus Captain Luthor. I basically want a live action Superman smashes the Klan. I mean, he'll take a storyline on SNL. Like they could have an arc where Clark infiltrates a KKK chapter in Smallville. He just wears the hood. So like some Dave Chappelle thing when he didn't realize he was black because he was blind and he just pulls the hood up. That would be hilarious. Stupid, you're black. Yeah, that. You probably should write DC Comics and see if they'll write that for you, because that actually is kind of funny. I don't think the CW is going to be doing that anytime soon, but I could see DC Comics getting a kick out of that. I think that would be really funny. It's so hard to see John Cryer on the show playing evil, and then I watch 2.5 Men. No, I meant on Superman and Lois. Oh, I definitely know they're not going to do that on Superman and Lois, because if they put the KKK in Smallville, they're going to think everybody is a member, because there's not a huge population, and then nobody's going to be rooting for Smallville to be saved. No, just let it go. Let Morgan have it. Plus, there seems to be a lot of minorities in Smallville now, so I don't want them to die. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to take one more question. Which I just saw it, and for some reason I scrolled down. Okay, Jefferson could definitely give Clark some tips. True. Jefferson could give Clark a lot of tips. Clark would not take those tips, though. That's the problem, because Clark, though I will say they made this one a little bit more humble. He does seem to literally not know what he's doing. He literally thinks he's a bad dad, and he doesn't know how to fix his life or fix any of that stuff, which is also a conversation you have before you decide to have children, because you can still sleep with your wife and not procreate. I mean, that is a thing. Although I just never did understand how Superman and Lois procreated without her dying. But, it is what it is, I guess. I will tell my daughter, by the way, to take notes on Charmed. You will love her notes. You would love them. Yeah, true. Like in the comics, that's 55,000 people in the show. I doubt there's more than 20,000. I think 20,000 is very ambitious for Smallville. I would say a population maybe of 5K because it doesn't seem like they have enough. You know, so many people they already established that people have moved away because there aren't any jobs. So I think it's a very, very small town. So 20,000, I think, is way ambitious for this town. But yeah. But guys, do me a favor, though. Put all of your comments and questions in the comment field because I really do want to continue this conversation. This is the first time I actually talked about 2 shows and got every point I wanted out simultaneously. I'm very proud of myself. My daughter is a very good note taker. She really kept me on track with her notes, but I'm telling you, they're very problematic, but I love it. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know what you thought of The Flash tonight. What did you think about Superman and Lois? Where do you think these shows are going to go? Because they're both interesting in their own right. Superman and Lois is a little bit more interesting to me because it's newer and because I don't have we don't have a preconceived notion of where this plot is going to go. We know Iris is getting out of that mirror. There's no doubt. But we don't know what's going to happen on Superman and Lois. This is all new territory. It's an original story and it's actually post-comics. So we don't have a comic to reference. We just have Easter eggs from the DC universe. I want to know what you guys think is going to happen in this series. What do you want to happen in this series? How can we fix Jordan? Because that kid's got some problems. Do you think Jonathan Kent is going to be the prime Superboy like he is in the comics? What do you think is going to happen with Sam Lane? Do you think he's going to ally himself with Captain Luthor? I want to know all of these things. And then on The Flash, the only thing I want to know is what do you think is going to happen with Ava? Because now that Ava knows that she's a mirrored, double and she's not the original Ava, I really feel like she's going to get a little bit crazier and maybe less nice to Iris and everyone else. So let me know what you think about that. And also how you think Cecille was able to use her empathic ability and upgrade to basically double what Vertigo did to her that quick. It seemed like she didn't need any training. She didn't need any coaxing. She just did it. I feel like Cecille is a mastermind of evil and she just doesn't realize it. If she ever went evil, they're all screwed. But yeah, those are my opinions on The Flash and Superman and Lois. So I would love to know yours. So please leave me a comment, guys, below. And I'm going to go take a bubble bath and go to bed. It has been a long work day, guys. Be on the lookout for some new videos this week. Friday, WandaVision episode. Now we are finally getting our last WandaVision episode. And yes, I am live streaming the heck out of that. I'm also going to do the Raya and the Last Dragon movie review. That's probably going to be Saturday. And then Winona Earp comes back. If you are a Winona Earp fan, that comes back on Friday night. So Friday and Saturday is going to be very busy for me. So I guess having Charm not be on Sunday and Batwoman not being on Sunday is a reprieve. That means I get a day off. But I love you guys. Have a good rest of your night. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you're just starting your day, have a great day. Yeah. And I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.